So hey everyone, it's Cyclist here. This is a new series of video that I just found the idea yesterday, because when I draw something I don't record me doing it every time, because when I record I have to, it just takes more time because I have to check the timer, I've got to empty the memory stick, and I've got to do the editing. So when I do an artwork and I just record at the same time, it adds time to it, and it's super long. And sometimes I'm just like running out of patience, and I don't have the feeling to do the artwork again. So sometimes I do artworks and I don't record them. So this is the case for this one here. And since I still wanted to show to you my last artwork, I figured out it would be nice to do a new kind of videos that I will call the artwork reviews. Basically, just going to talk about just talked about one artwork that I finished, like how did I what colors did I use, what was the idea, what was the sketch and the steps, how much time I spent on it, just like kind of have a backup on what you've just did. And I think it's a great idea to do, it's a great thing to do with your artworks when you have when you're stuck in something for, I don't know, like 5 to 10 to 15 hours, and you are just really focusing on doing something. I think it's really nice when you have finished it to kind of have a look at it, and then an overall, what did I do right, what did I do, is there something wrong, is there something I would like to change, maybe for the next drawing I should maybe do this or that, what is the colors that I should have done this in the different colors, just having kind of like a retrospective of your work and thinking about it. And since this is also a drawing and a tutorial channel, I figured out it would be nice to also talk to you about how I drew some things, and what is the basic steps when I just go through references, and how do I sketch, and how I choose to make the composition, and how I arrange everything, and why do I choose these colors. I think it's going to be interesting, and also for me it's a great way of looking back at my work and think about what is the best thing about it, and what is the things that I don't really like. So here it is for this little introduction, and we're going to go on the drawing, and I will just talk to you about the steps of making this illustration. So hi again. For this illustration, which is called Whimsical Flowers, I made there's two previous steps. The first steps is this artwork here, which is really old. I think I drew this 4 or 5 years ago on my sketchbook, a really old sketchbook, and I don't know if you can really see there's a little girl here, a little fairy girl, which is just sitting on I don't know, on the shore, and she's just looking at the moon and everything, and I really liked the way she was standing, sitting on this position, and I really liked it. But I wanted to have this girl looking at me because I just thought that it would be better. So with this idea, and I didn't use any references for this one, with this idea I just did another sketch which is a bit more recent. I think I drew this a few months ago, and I did this one here, which is the basic sketch that I use for my artwork. As you can see, the posture doesn't change a lot. I just changed the arm and the face, just so she can look more directly to the viewer, not directly somewhere else. And since I really love to have flowers and kind of cute romantic stuff, I just figured out it could be nice to have things surrounding her, and some creatures, kind of a fantastic fantasy looking of the illustrations. So that's why there's a little, just maybe in flowers add some creatures flower looking, kind of like a hybrid flower human. So this is the basic sketch. Then I went on computer because this is really too small, and I went on my computer in Photoshop, and I just redraw everything and kind of like thinking what flowers should I put there, how how the flowers will look with these little creatures inside them and everything. So I don't have this sketch here, but it's basically what I will just like. This is this artwork with only the black lines. So usually the process of making an illustration is, the longest part is to find the idea and build it like gradually on computer, working on the face, the hair, the clothes, everything around it. This is a really long process. When I sketch is easy. When I clean the sketch to have it ready for coloring, it is really long. For this particular illustration, I think I spent around 15 hours in total, which is probably, I think I spent around 3 to 4 hours working only on the lines on the sketch, you know, working on like what the look of the drawing. When it's finished, I decide like the size that I want. Usually to decide the size, I picture like which part of the drawing is going to be the smallest. If I have to draw on really tiny details, it's going to be really hard to work on a small drawing paper. For example, here you can really see, but like the head of the little flowers is really small. Like I had to use a 0.03 to do the face. This is really tiny, and so yeah, I have to choose the size based on the smallest part of the drawing. If I can draw the smallest part, this means that the rest of the drawing will be easier to draw. So for the girl faces, it was easier for me to work at this size, that if I had to choose and work on a smaller size, it will be completely horrible. So I choose the size, then I print this on my printer, so I can use my tracer to put this on paper. And when I do the lines, and you can see like this in my how to ink video, here there's no black lines because I've used a light gray to do the basic lines. I used my Staedtler Triplus fine liner in light gray, so I can just have all my lines ready, but not overwhelming the colors, you know, so I can still have a way to keep this in a really watercolor effect, I guess, without there's only black for the eyes and the face of the flowers. There's no black anywhere else, because I really wanted a really soft look. So when the lines are ready, I have to choose like the colors. Sometimes I do a color scheme, which is the case for one of my next artwork, which is this one. That I just put on my Facebook. So this is the color scheme that I did on Photoshop, and I printed so you can have it. Because there was a lot of different there was a lot of different stuff. There's butterflies, there's flowers, and a lot of different things. So I have to figure out how the colors will react with the other ones, and if they don't react in a nice way and they don't respond, like kind of respond to each other. For example, when you use green, you have to make some kind of orange or maybe some red, so they can really balance each other. And if you put more than 3 or 4 colors, it's gonna look a bit odd. You have to stay in the same color family, or you have to really go all the way and put a lot of different colors, so you can have like a rainbow looking, I guess. So here I did a color scheme, but for this one I didn't do a color scheme on Photoshop. I just choose that I really wanted bright colors, and I based myself only on the character. I just did like, I want really like a blonde girl and a really bright dress. When I finished the character with the colors that I have here, it kind of make me go for the colors around it, because I have here a turquoise yellow dress, so I have turquoise and yellow everywhere else. she's blonde, so I have yellows on some flowers, you know, so you just have to, I guess, picture colors responding to each other. You have to put some bright spot if you have a dark background, or you can have something that will make the colors pop. For example, this white contouring makes really the back, like it makes the flowers really pop of the drawings. Yeah, so I guess it's a judgment call when, and you just like have to practice how to choose colors. But usually when I do the shadows, when I grade something on the drawing, I change the color family. For example, if I have green, I will shade with blue or turquoise. If I have a yellow, I will shade with an orange or a pink. If I have a purple, I will just try to shade it and put the shadow in maybe like a dark pink or a dark red or a dark blue or a gray blue. And I very often don't use the same color family to darken an area, except for the skin. But sometimes the skin is a bit tricky because you have a lot of different colors in your skin. You have the veins, you have blues, you have purples, you have a lot of different things. The hair, for example, you know, she's blonde, but there's many colors. There's orange, there's some ochre, there's a lot of different colors. So what I like about this artwork is very bright. Usually when I do something in watercolors, I like to have a really soft pastel look, and when I add Copic markers, suddenly it's just too saturated, too deep, and I lost that feeling. But with this illustration, what I really try to like avoid dark colors. There's not a lot of dark colors, only like with the flowers and under, because this is the shadows, but all over it, this is mostly bright soft colors. I don't really use dark colors in my illustration. They are always like just a tiny spot, just to enhance a bit. There's you know, because when you have like a spot that is too dark, to really make it smooth, it's really hard, because you have to gradually go to the lighter color, and sometimes you just I just mess up, this is too dark and I can't really go back. You can always go darker, you know, if you just like put some light colors, you know, just a flat light color, and you can always go darker and darker and darker. But if you do the opposite way and you start too dark, you are kind of stuck, because if you start too dark, you have to go gradually on the lighter color. And sometimes when I mess up and I just started with the too dark colors, I have to take more space, you know, just to really blend it together. And sometimes it just it's just breaking the drawing, because I have to go farther, and it's messing up all the lights and the lighting and everything. So, you know, just like one big advice, when you color in any kind of drawing, with every kind of coloring process, that watercolors, paints, or color pencils, you have to go from light to dark. I know a lot of people, especially with Copic markers, start with the darker colors and then lay over it a lighter colors. And I think that's really dangerous to do, for the reason that I just to you, and also because you don't like, sometimes it's really hard to know how dark colors will react with the lighter colors. Copic would blend together, but not really blending. It's really hard. The only spot here where I did this technique, going from dark to light, is with the background, the blue. But I didn't start with the really dark blue. I start with B05, which is a process blue. So it's not really dark, it's just like a medium tone. But so you can go from dark to light if you use a medium color, but if you like start with a dark brown, it's going to be really hard. What can I say about this artwork again? I don't know. I think it's nicely like the balance is okay. I tried to do a triangle composition. I don't know if I just talked. No, I don't think I brought this up in my previous video. you have when you draw when you do something an illustration, when you have to organize everything, it's really nice to have kind of like forest lines, and I talked about it in my hair tutorial. You have to make the dynamic of a drawing, and you can see here the forest lines. You can see that everything is going in and is in the same direction, you know, kind of like wrapping around the girl, and in the same way, and this, in the same way is also a bit like you can see she's standing on something, so it's kind of like a triangle composition. And when I did this artwork, there was no flowers here, you know. There was kind of like an empty spot, because this is kind of unbalanced, because this is a bit too high and this is a bit too low, so it's kind of like a bit you know, there's a lot of white spot, there's a lot of space here, and there's not a lot of space here, but it's okay if you just do that, because it's avoiding a really like kind of like a harsh sturdy looking, because if it's just too, if you can see the triangle, for example, if I just cut here, you can already like it's a bit too obvious, you know. So it's kind of nice to work on a base like a triangle or a square, or trying to maybe work in a circle and kind of breaking it. You know, you break it, you had something a bit or a bit above the line. You know, you just think out of the box and then you work around it. And so yeah, this is like a practice. You have to if you don't really know how to compose and how to organize things, just search on Google and just like for composition of a drawing. And it is the same when you work with photography. For example, you have like your guidelines and you just try to focus like on the where is the focus point on this illustration. I wanted to have a bit, not only one focus point, and I think I really managed to do this. Is that you obviously you want to look at the girl because she's the main character, but you can see she's looking at something else, so you have to just go on an other spot, and then you can see there's another flower, so you look at the other spot, and then when you're doing an artwork, you can see that it's a great artwork if you're looking at everything. If you just look at one spot, then it's a nice artwork too, because you have a focus point. But if you go all around it and you just look at different things, this means that the dynamic is yeah, you have dynamic in your artwork. So I think it's really great. But there's a lot of different things that I like about it. There's a lot of things that I don't like about it. I think I really like the soft kind of watercolor effect, because I didn't use black, but I struggled a bit with some things to do the contour of flowers, because I didn't want to go too dark, and I use color liners, but I don't have the really precise colors, so sometimes it's a bit too dark, sometimes it's kind of tricky, and these flowers may look nice on the video, but I kind of messing up. Yeah, there's some weird looking things. I try to correct and fix everything, but sometimes it's kind of hard. Also, I think I should have done this in a bigger size, but because the flowers, the little flower, the whimsical flowers was really very tricky to do, especially the face. It was really, really small, so I couldn't really put details. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. But Copic is really, really expensive, so this is already pretty big, because this is almost like, I don't know, this is 42 on 30. It's more than A3 drawing, so I use a lot of Copic markers, and you can see like this is bleeding through. I use a lot of Copic markers for this drawing, so I couldn't really do a bigger illustration. It's going to, because my marker will be dead right now. So yeah, I wish it was a bit bigger, but it's okay. I just managed through it. I don't feel like I like the cut, like how I do the hair, because blonde hair is kind of tricky to do. You can work a bit too yellow, or you can, if you put too much shadow, there is going to be a brown hair, so it's gonna, like, it's not blonde anymore. She kind of have like a brown, she kind of have like a dark blonde, kind of pinky blonde. Doesn't make any sense, but so yeah, I like how it turned out, but blonde hair is really hard. I think there's like, I don't know, 6 or 7 colors in this hair, and yeah, the things that you have to think when you do blonde hair, don't start with a yellow. If you start with a yellow, for example, Y08 or Y02, like, if you start with a yellow, it's going to be yellow hair and not blonde hair. Blonde hair is not yellow. Blonde is when you start with, for example, buttercup yellow or an ochre, or a really, you can always, like, you can start with a skin color if you want. Yeah, so try to avoid yellows and just go in the ochre, earth yellows, I guess. But yeah, don't go with the bright yellow. You can see the difference. This is yellow and this is more blonde looking, I guess. Someone on Facebook asked me what did like, how do I find the posture, and how to organize, and how did I choose flowers and the references and everything and the pose. For this particular artwork, I'm kind of proud of this actually, but for this artwork, there was no references at all. Like, I didn't look at any pictures. I didn't look at how I should draw things. Basically, this is just like from my own experience, because I looked at many pictures from the past 10 years, so the posture is not very, like, super original looking. She's just sitting down with her feet and just, you know, just chilling and enjoying it's kind of like a really peaceful looking, you know, a lot of like greens and nature looking. I really like this. And I have a book, not a book, but I have a binder with a lot of different flowers in it, so, you know, just look at I look at it almost every day, so I have in mind some flowers scheme, you know, like how flowers can look. You know, you can have pointy petals or round petals. Yes, you can you know, I think these flowers don't exist, to be quite honest. I don't think you can find flowers with like this kind of leaves and then changing colors, and, you know, this is nothing, like, there's nothing real in this. But I guess it's just like, if you really want to know how, you know, if you want flowers in the drawing, just Google flowers, and you will get many kind of of models and references, and then you can just work with them. But to be quite honest, for this particular artwork, I didn't use any references. Yeah, I think that's it for like my talking review on this. I really like how it turned out. There's a lot of different things that I don't really like, but this is like, you know, if you just like go through it and really closely. But overall, I really like it. This is one of the longest and the most complex illustration that I did with Copic Makers. I think this is like maybe the most complex and the longest that I just spent on Copic illustrations. And I will probably do more for sure, and probably going to stay in this pastel watercolor effect, avoiding black lines, because I think it looks much better with only color liners. The paper is great. This is just some Bristol cardstock paper. I don't think there's a brand to this, but I got a new block of cardstock. This is Bristol, but cardstock is the same, by Clairefontaine, and this is pure white cardstock. And because I use my GNK paper, but they don't come in bigger size, there is always a small size, so I have to choose another one for bigger illustration, because yeah, sometimes I just want to do a bigger illustration, and I don't like layered paper, so this is why I got this one. And I prefer to have a really like kind of ivory looking, like a paper, maybe too white, but it's nice because it's really bright. Yeah, I think that's it for my little talking and I'm just going to tell you the colors that I used.